But joining the show now is we had Rob on before from MLBBro.com. Joining us today is Kevin Moore, who is a senior writer at MLBBro.com. Kevin, thanks so much for taking some time to join us here. We're kind of reading a Jeff Passan article live in show, trying to make sense of apparently the Phillies are going to be making some more moves when a lot of us here locally thought like Nola might have been it. It appears maybe the Phillies are looking to spend a little bit more. That's pretty exciting news to us here in Philly.
Yeah, how you both doing? Appreciate you all having me on today.
Yes, and you can follow Kevin along. Renee, was it Kev Moore 93?
Yep, Kev Moore 93. Listen, so Kev, as we're talking through, we've also been keeping an eye on just the bigger picture of around the league. I know MLB dropped some power rankings recently where they gave their predictions and power rankings as of officially July 2024. January 2024. That we're starting off the new year with power rankings already. And by no surprise, at the top of that power rankings list, the Braves. And then we also had the Braves, the Dodgers, the Rangers, the Orioles, and the Phillies sitting at number 5 as to round out that top 5. What are your thoughts on top 5 teams right now, and just also how competitive we have in this mix where, truth be told, you could make a case for some minor changes in the top 5 right now?
Yeah, I think that's a very competitive list in that top 5. All of those teams, are very competitive. They have high level players, and I really think the Braves are the most, from top to bottom, in my opinion. They're like the team, simply because they've had experience in the past in previous seasons. They've had success, and they've developed a chemistry. Based on when I watched them play, it looks like they have that chemistry on the field, and they gel well on and off the field. So I really agree with MLB putting the Braves at the top. Now I know the Dodgers. Everybody knows the Dodgers made the most noise so far in the offseason with their 2 additions, big time additions. So I really think the Dodgers have the best team on paper, but we have to see them play. They haven't played together yet. So, but the other 3 teams, like the Orioles, they're becoming the kings of the American League with their success. The Rangers, World Series champions, you can't sleep on them, and the Phillies, for sure, who've had success in the NL as well. So all those teams, I believe, will have a successful year in 2024 and can make some noise going into the postseason. If I had to choose a team, just like an early pick for the World Series, I honestly can't choose, because you can choose either one of those 5 teams to be a pick to win the World Series.
So, Kev, obviously the Dodgers, as you said, stole the headlines this offseason. I believe super teams like this are good for the sport overall because it creates that heel, that enemy. What are your thoughts on, like, it's not like NBA super teams because it's an uncapped sport, but the super team in baseball, do you think it's good for the game?
I honestly do. I honestly do. Now I know my top guy, Rob Parker. he might get mad at me for saying this because he doesn't agree with the super teams, but I honestly do agree with it. So I remember I was chatting with some of my colleagues and asking them after Otani went to the Dodgers. Uh, I was like, yeah, I think they can get Yamamoto as well. Like, nah, that's not gonna happen. We're gonna see. So I think the super team is good for baseball. The Dodgers, they already had a target on their back. I feel like the Dodgers always have a target on their back each season, but now the eyes will be on them for sure, because you have Otani, Yamamoto, Freeman, Betts, and those aren't the only top. Those are like the superstars, but they have other players as well. I mean, they just got Glass now to go in their pitching rotation as well. So I'm a fan. I'm a fan of the super teams in baseball. I wouldn't be surprised if it continues to happen going further. But I would say I'm a fan of it.
Yeah, and this hot stove so far, we've seen so many moves being made. Obviously, the Dodgers with the most noticeable and the biggest ones by far that took the baseball world and sports world by a chokehold. But have you had, outside of the Dodgers, any other teams that you're surprised by how much they're doing, even how little they've been doing to make sure that they're bringing in, whether it's through free agency or trades, bringing in some major roster moves?
So I have two teams that really got my attention outside of the Dodgers. I really like the move the Braves made and getting Sale, and also letting go of Grissom, because I don't think Grissom, as well as a player that he is, I don't think he could have got his opportunity in Atlanta. Obviously, with Ozzie there, so I really think that Grissom going to Boston, he's going to have a chance to potentially become a starter there. And then with Atlanta bringing Sale over, adding him to the rotation, I think that's going to help. Now, obviously, Sale isn't what he used to be. Everybody knows that. But just getting that depth and also a lefty, I think is going to help Atlanta bolster their rotation, because they have a good pitcher rotation, and this Sale just adds to that presence. So Boston is one, and then so my hometown team, the Tigers. So they've made a few good moves with Jack Flaherty coming aboard, and um, Kent Maeda. I hope I'm saying that name right, but yeah, bringing both of those to add into our pitching rotation, that brings a lot of experience and a lot of depth too. So I really think the Tigers can make a big leap in the AL Central this year. So I'm excited to see what they're going to do. But I would definitely say the Tigers and the Red Sox have been the two teams that caught my eye outside of the Dodgers.
So, Kev, you cover the whole league, obviously, but being an AL Central guy, we've kind of discussed here a couple times, like, what the hell are the Guardians doing? Like, Clase is, like, under team control for several years at cheap money. You know, Shane Bieber, they have some young talent, but they seem to also be blowing up the team at the same time. What's your vibe on the Guardians being sellers here? As you know, the hot stove kind of is, you know, not simmering a little bit, but the trade market rumors are starting to pick up as well. Are they legit sellers?
I would say they are, because the Guardians are a team that a lot of people would think could win the AL Central, and obviously based off their success, well, their lack of success this past season, I think it's they have to make a move if they want to be successful, because in my opinion the AL Central, there's really, for the past what 3-4 seasons, it's really been like the Twins, the Guardians. They've been in the mix a little bit, but really those two teams have been like the upper part of the AL Central. So I think they will be sellers. Now, what they're going to go after, I'm honestly not sure. I wish I could answer that question or give my thoughts on that, but I wouldn't be surprised if they were sellers during this time, because, like I said, I think they understand that they need to make a leap, and they want to become the top team in the AL Central. And I really think this upcoming season, the AL Central could be any team's fair game. Honestly, like the Royals, they could make a surprise leap, um, and we could
Spent more money than
see
they
what.
almost their whole payroll last year. To your point,
Yeah, yeah. So I really think the AL Central is any team's game at this point, and there's no like top team. Whereas in other divisions, like the East, now you have the Orioles, who's been the top team over there, and they have the Blue Jays, the Yankees, teams that are legitimate year in and year out. Whereas like the AL Central, it's in the past it's been like two teams who we've always seen been up at the top, but now I think that can definitely change. And if the Guardians want to get in the mix, I think they have to be sellers.
Yeah, I know. As you talk about Detroit specifically, ironically, our producer Tyler was also thinking that Detroit has been a sneaky team. So I'm going to actually let him ask his question for you, Kevin, because he's got one lined up for you about the Tigers.
It's so funny. I'm typing a note to Renee and Jamie to see about this question, and you started talking about the Tigers and the offseason that they've had. I think that this team could be something in the AL Central. I think that Torkelson's ready. I think Casey Mize could take another step. Like, I think that this team has, and adding Kenta Maeda was a good move to me. I know you kind of alluded to it a little bit earlier, but especially in an AL Central that has been weak over the last couple of years, does this team have what it takes to maybe be a sneaky good team in 2024?
Yeah, Tyler, I'm glad you asked that question because, yeah, like I mentioned earlier, I really think they do because the players you mentioned, Torkelson, he was really he was really well. He did a really good job at the plate, like towards the end of the season this past year, and I think he's a player that can be a really good, not only defender, but he provides that bat in our lineup that we really need. So I really think he can have a breakout year this upcoming year. And then, like with the key additions to Maeda and Flaherty, like I said, that'll just add to our bullpen. And then Casey Mize, he's gonna be a really good guy for us as well, coming out of that rotation. So I really think the Tigers do have a chance, and they have a good mix of talent that I really like. I know, they haven't had the much success in the previous years, but there's been spurts where we've seen them play really good against really good teams. So I think it all can come together in 2024, and we can potentially see them in that top of the standings in the AL Central. So I'm really looking forward to see what they can do.
Yeah, well, Kev, we appreciate you taking time to join us so much and weigh in on your thoughts on currently how the league has been looking. Of course, speaking specifically about teams like Detroit and the AL Central. And we appreciate, carving out some time, being flexible with us to tweak your schedule and be here and join the conversation.
No, absolutely. It's a pleasure. Thank you all for having me on, and definitely excited for the 2024 season.